tell you about Rose Island, I first have to tell you about the park that was here first. The city of Louisville was already a pretty large city at that point. You had a lot of pollution beginning. Coal was used in all the buildings, all the homes, all the businesses had coal furnaces. There was a lot of soot and ash from that. And even in those days, people thought that it was probably best to be away from that, to at least get out into nature, into fresh air on occasion. At the same time, you had a company called the River Excursion Company out of Louisville who owned and operated several large steamboats. They saw an opportunity with this desire to get out of the city. If they were to create a park setting away from the city that would require a boat trip there, then they could keep their boats making money. So in the early 1880s, they created a park called Fern Grove. And Fern Grove was really just kind of a basic picnic grounds for most of its life. Think of an open, manicured city park. You know, there were shade trees scattered around, lots of picnic tables. It was a very popular destination. Churches would have their picnics here. Eventually, employee picnics for companies were offered here. And before it was over, Fern Grove did become just kind of a destination for the general public. Eventually, the park starts to lose its luster. So Fern Grove is put up for sale, and it remains for sale for several years before a businessman from Louisville decides to buy it. That man's name was David Rose. So in 1923, he becomes the new owner of Fern Grove, and right away really reinvents the park. He has a power plant built on site, so they have electricity now. They start to add games, rides, and other attractions to really make it more than just a picnic ground. The biggest change, though, was on the outside, the name. It is now known as Rose Island. That name is a little bit of a mystery to us and a little bit misleading. Rose is obvious. David Rose, named after his family. Island was a little bit more confusing for us because Fern Grove was never mentioned as an island because it's not an island at all. And this site became the popular destination. And the boats were once again filled with people coming from Louisville, Jeffersonville, Clarksville, New Albany, would take those trips here for a day of picnicking and fun in the park. Mr. Rose was enjoying great success, but then we have the stock market crash and of course the Great Depression. But Mr. Rose continued to put his own funding into the park to keep it open every season, knowing that eventually the economy would get better, and of course it does. And business picks up again. Mr. Rose starts to plan for his next phase of development, including adding things like a golf course and other games, rides, and attractions. But again, he never gets the opportunity to see that because in January of 1937, it begins to rain. And it continues to rain for days upon weeks. And we're left with what's considered the most devastating flood ever seen in our part of the country, what they would have called a 500-year flood. And Rose Island was quite literally underwater from the Ohio River. What was not swept away from the flood was damaged so far beyond repair. Mr. Rose really could not afford to reinvest at that point, so he essentially abandons the park. And in 1940, the land becomes part of the Indiana Army Ammunition Plant, which essentially seals Rose Island off to the outside world until 2011 with the opening of our bridge here and the opening of our Rose Island Trail. When we first opened in 1996, Rose Island was part of that original property. We knew that there was a great interest from the local community to visit. Unfortunately, because of the way the park property was laid out, we had no direct access to Rose Island. So we knew that we would need a bridge to get people here. So it really took a number of years of researching and finding some creative funding routes for that. Fortunately, we were able to find that with the help of grants that were available for the preservation of historic bridges. So the idea then became, if we could find a bridge that would fit in our location, would fit those historic requirements, and is not needed in its original home, that maybe we could get that bridge here. The bridge was built in 1911, and it's an iron construction. So the bridge was quite literally disassembled on site on the White River in its original location, brought here piece by piece. Those pieces were then restored, and it was reassembled here over 14 Mile Creek. A lot of the things that remain were the things that were built with concrete. So of course our swimming pool is a main attraction here. It was a main attraction in those days as well. It's actually the first Olympic length swimming pool built in the state of Indiana. That pool was still full of water in 2011 when we first got access. But there's also a couple fountains and foundations left of concession stands, things like that. But really what was here before was much greater than what we can see today. So one thing you'll find when touring the site on your own is that there's not a lot here. You know, as I said, most of it was washed away by the flood or damaged beyond repair. So we really needed to tell the story in a much better way. Otherwise, it was just a trail in the forest. So we have some interpretive panels that have the stories on them in written text and photos. Of course, that's not something that everyone is capable of taking in. So we wanted to offer guided tours as much as possible. It's a walking tour, typically lasts an hour and a half to 2 hours, even though we hike less than a mile. There's just so much stories to tell that it's a really slow pace walk, just a casual stroll through the woods with our tour guides just telling lots of stories. So every year we still have folks that are from the local community that come out and say, oh I just heard you're doing these tours. My mother used to talk about these, or I went there when I was a child. I've been able to meet some people over the years who were here and enjoyed it in its original state, and it's pretty amazing to hear those stories and to be able to share those.